And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus, 1:06 in the afternoon, and we've finally seen a break in the constant rain. We picked up anywhere from 1 to 2 inches, even a little bit more. Castleton, the most in our area, 2.41, a little over a buck and a half here in Fargo. So now we've got thunderstorms developing from around Daisy to just west of Valley City. Some small hail being reported on a few of those storms just northeast or northwest of Fort Ransom. Some of those are going to be moving into the FM area. Don't be surprised to see some small hail. Could even see some cold air funnels like we saw the other day out around the Leonard area. Those don't touch the ground typically, and if they do, they're very weak and short-lived. But a lot of cold air aloft, and as this strong area of low pressure continues to rotate in from the west, that's why we're seeing some of these thunderstorms developing out to the south and west. So although the steady rain has moved out, now we've got to deal with some possible strong thunderstorms as we head into mid-afternoon. You guys ready for the weekend? I'm done with the rain myself. Ugh.
I'm ready to sleep.
I'm going to put on some arm floaties to plant the garden this weekend, because when you said Castleton's rainfall, I'm not far behind them. There's a lot of moisture in this neighborhood right now.
Yeah.
So to all those who are finished planting, congratulations. That's like a big cowbell for you. For those of you who have not finished planting yet, best of luck. I hope we get back in the field soon enough for y'all to finish. That'd be great.
Yeah. And Bridgette had an email come in. I wasn't sure how to answer this, but they asked, with all the heavy rainfall and the standing water in the fields, if something was newly planted, is there any way that those seedlings could float to the top out of the soil and with the heavy rainfall and the standing water?
Okay, if we had seedlings that were not planted to the correct depth, if they were very shallowly planted, they could, but the soil would literally have to move. It's almost like you'd have to have standing water plus a heavy wind that could be pushing that plant right out of the ground and moving it with water action. Overall, if they have some root system to them, they're going to stay where you placed them. Even seeds will. The problem here is going to be, how long will the water stay on fields, and what will that do? Is that going to cause us any problems for root disease, etc.? And do know that those of you who have wheat and barley up, we're definitely looking at a fungicide treatment coming up real fast to prevent some of that early season leaf disease that could happen with our heavy moisture right now.
Did I hear you correctly? You said you needed some stronger wind with that, along with the heavy rain?
I didn't necessarily ask for that. No. I just thought I'd give you the wind sound effects. I'm here to help.
I thought you said wind. This is along with it. So
you do that on air one time.
That's all it takes.
Just wait till the next time.
Right.
I can't wait for round 2.
So right now, one of the areas that I don't think you mentioned for rainfall, Dean, if you get west to the southwest of Devil's Lake, is Minnewacan. And right. I have gotten some snaps from farmers this morning. They're pushing over 3 inches of rain in that Minnewacan area right now. 2
to 4 inches out there I was seeing on Endon. And then snow west of there.
Dunseith, North Dakota this morning, covered in snow. I got some pictures of that. So Mother Nature said, hey, hold on to my beer. Y'all thought it was wet. Got one more for you.
It's getting old. Well, we've seen snow. We've snow in May. We've had snow here in May before, but
we've had snow in June. This is not the end of the world.
Yeah, no doubt. So you want to hit?
It's going to be fine.
Let's hit the weather, because there is improving weather as we head into the upcoming weekend, at least a little better than today. That's yesterday. And we've got those scattered thunderstorms that will continue to develop out to the southwest of the FM area here as we head into this afternoon. And again, some of those could be on the stronger side, a little small hail, possibly a few of those cold air funnels developing between about 2 o'clock and 5 o'clock here in the FM area, a little sooner out to our south and west. Temperatures currently in the 50s will fall off into the upper 40s as we head towards sunset. Going to be a cool night as well, with lows dropping off into the upper 30s to near 40. And Saturday and Sunday, we'll at least see some sunshine. We'll have partly cloudy skies both days. Saturday should be dry for the most part, upper 60s and then lower 70s on Sunday, with a slight chance of a few showers coming in on Sunday. Better chance of rain, unfortunately, on Memorial Day, with highs cooling off back into the mid-60s. So not the best forecast, but again, it could be worse. We do warm up by the middle of next week, back up into the mid to upper 70s, thank goodness. Yeah.
Hey, Justin, for those on the live stream, they will appreciate your artwork, because Justin has now gone from making comments verbally to just making poster boards and holding them up to like cheer Dean on. Next thing you know, it'll be a rating system. Maybe he'll get a 10 out of 10 today. We'll see.
We'll see how big of a splash he makes before we give those scores.
Well, outside he could splash a lot. Oh, that goat. Okay, so
Where'd that come from?
as far as what's
It's trying to wake you up,
that's
Storm.
terrible.
You're like a zombie over there.
I'm sick, man. Give me a
terrible
break.
You ain't sick. What do you got?
Bet.
You got the 1-9er? If you do, stay home.
No, I don't
Hey
know
kids,
what it is.
we're doing a radio
Everybody
show
woke
over here.
Everybody woke up sick today.
Did they? Well, all right, we'll get better. Stay home.
Okay, I got a couple of things for y'all.
Hit it.
First of all, if you have someone, probably high school, college student age, preferably, who wants to get into politics, I have an opportunity for you to do that. National Cattlemen's Beef Association, along with the Public Lands Council, is holding applications right now, are coming in for internships in Washington, D.C. to be a part of those organizations. It would be hands-on August through December. You have the opportunity as an intern to work in the offices, see all of what goes on in the background legislatively within Congress, but also do some work on your own in order to help move forward their public policy. So if you have an interest, please just drop me an email, ag@flagfamily.com. I'd be happy to share the link with you. Applications are due May 31st for that internship. And if you have an interest in the cattle industry, this might be a great fit for you. Hope you want to check that out.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to be talking about cattle later on today with our guest Tyler Melroe from the Cattlemen's Foundation and Gala from South Dakota. So it'll be interesting to kind of tie those two things together and see if he has any input or anything to add on that.
He will. And the nice thing is we aren't going to be talking about dancing cows, or as the Bellamy brothers said, dancing cowboys. This will be a little bit different. The Cattlemen's Foundation in South Dakota puts on a wonderful event in order to help raise funds to buy beef for homeless shelters, as well as Feeding South Dakota. So we're going to find out what Feeding South Dakota is and so much more. And you know what? There's a concert associated with it. Maybe you all want to put on those boots and kick them up just a little bit. I got to go last year and it was great. Saw Alabama.
I'm more of a chair
They were
dancer.
wonderful. Good to know. All right. You don't wear out the soles of your
yes.
boots that way.
We try not to. We try and get an extra year out of them by not dancing.
All right. It's a good plan.
Yeah. Well, how about the nomination for a farm dog of the year? What's going on with that?
Dean is always looking for a cattle dog.
Oh, they're the best.
He's mentioned how he wants a dog, so I don't see a reason why he couldn't get a cattle dog, maybe a blue heeler or a border collie.
I've had a blue heeler before. They are the best. They're so good.
My best blue heeler story is a nursing home once got a rescue dog and they wanted to have him around for the residents, but they got a blue heeler who continually wanted to herd his people like he would herd livestock. And that poor blue heeler just couldn't get it. It was really rough on the dog. Couldn't quite make it happen. But for those dogs that are out there that are doing a fantastic job on the farm alongside their farmer partners, maybe they're herding livestock or even birds. Maybe they are opening gates, fetching tools, greeting visitors, being security against predators. Well, you can nominate them for Farm Bureau's Farm Dog of the Year. You have to be a Farm Bureau member to do so. It comes with cash prizes of $5,000 and a year-long Purina dog food supply for your dog. And I think last year's dog, you guys interviewed the couple who had that dog from Atlanta, or the Atlanta area anyway. And he helped out a lot after there was a farm accident, if I'm not mistaken. He was a big part of the operation, actually.
Yeah, it was an interesting little conversation to see how just having a farm dog around the operation was able to completely in a way, almost save what they were doing.
Absolutely. And I think that dog's name was even Lucky. So imagine that.
Lucky them.
So yes, get your applications in. There's plenty of things for us to talk about along with our guest today, Tyler. Dean and I didn't even get to talking about any of our ag headlines yesterday, simply because our conversation with Greg Gullickson with North Dakota Game and Fish was pretty productive. We had a lot of things to share. And just a reminder from Greg, he wanted to make sure that all of us who might be heading out to a lake this weekend. I mean, I know it's chilly. Some of you are going to a lake. Use your water safety practices. Keep on your life vest. Be safe. Don't drink and boat, because he wants people to be safe, and Game and Fish doesn't want to get calls about accidents over this weekend.
Wait,
Big holiday here, folks.
You can't go boating and drinking at the same time? What if you're a passenger?
You should have a sober operator.
Okay, so the
I know
driver can't be drinking. I see.
Definitely. Well, we're talking motorized vehicles here, you guys. Let's be safe like we would on a normal day, shall we?
No, you are absolutely correct. Oh, and always, I don't know how many adults I've seen on a boat that don't have life jackets on. It doesn't always wear them. Thanks, there, Justin. I always like to give out good advice. You know. Oh, and if you're camping this weekend, here's another little tidbit: is so the red and the maple are both under flood. They're going to be rising above flood stage. So if you're doing any camping in some of those lower lying areas closer to the river, be careful. Expect that river level to be rising over the weekend. Could see some minor low lying flooding. That's
Dean,
it. 6.
You got us.
I got a 6
out of that. You got a
that.
score of a 6 from Justin.
This
on the live
is
stream.
safety precautions, Justin. This should be a 10.
I'm just rating it on the delivery, man.
You want me to get more excited about it?
Oh, man. Well, we got to catch up with the American Ag Network. When we come back, we'll be joined with our guest, Tyler Melroe from South Dakota Cattlemen's Foundation and Gala. And if you want to be a part of the conversation, ask some questions, give us a call on the Red Wing Shoes phone line. That's 701-293-9000, or emails to the program, weatherorag@flagfamily.com. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thank you to our mascot, Cooper, the little Highlander cow, for taking my spot today while I'm not in studio. I appreciate that very much, Cooper. He's doing a great job today. And a thank you to our Here We Grow sponsors. Two of them would include Pivot Bio, the great work that they are doing out in our plot this year, making sure that our corn has as much nitrogen as you can use when we're going through our growing season to boost the yield. And to Foltz Buildings. Those folks do a great job. Why would you choose Foltz? Well, their vision, their expertise, and they will build something exceptional. But apparently they can say that word and I can't.
Did you have lunch
Check
today,
them out
Bridgette?
at foltzbuildings.com. I did. I had a bowl of chili with beef in it, which is actually the perfect lead-in to our guest today, Tyler Melroe. He is with the South Dakota Cattlemen's Foundation, and he is a beef nutritionalist. Tyler, how are you?
How are you guys?
Doing good.
Doing good.
Mostly not in focus. Also, by the way, I appreciate that Jackrabbits hat. I feel like that's just because of my background.
It might have been intentional.
Nice work, Tyler. Tyler, tell us what you do, where you are. I said beef nutritionalist, but I think there's more to it than that.
Yeah, so I live down in Bridgette, South Dakota, just right on the North Dakota border here. Actually grew up in southeast North Dakota, just outside of Gwinner. And lived here for, I don't know, close to 20 years now. I worked for the Extension Service for a while, and then spent quite a bit of time in the feed industry. And recently went to work as an independent consultant, working doing beef cattle nutrition across the Dakotas and parts of Montana.
Okay, before we even get into cattlemen's and so forth, I think there's a lot of folks with curiosity about what you do. Generally speaking, most of us would just assume that you throw out some hay, maybe a little bit of corn, run those cows out to pasture, and everything turns out great. More to it than that?
Yeah, I think a lot of times there is. Yes, but to take a winter like we had this year, and a lot of guys can look probably pretty smart, and so our job is to balance the years where it's not so easy and things are good. Take the resources that people have at home and how do we put them to work and help make sure we have a healthy, productive, and profitable herd.
Okay, this is probably one of those controversial questions, Tyler, but I'm just going to ask you to help out just for a moment. I do get this a lot from listeners where they say grass-fed or corn-finished beef. Does it matter? Is it mostly about preference? Does it change anything within that animal? How could you help explain that?
I mean, from an animal standpoint, obviously it's very different, right? You aren't achieving near the level of energy with a grass finished program that you are with a corn-fed, corn-finished program. And finished is probably a little bit of a loosely used term in that situation. Grass finished, you're not going to have near the external cover and fat. You're not going to have the marbling that you're going to have in a corn finished animal that has been given a high energy diet. And so there's certainly going to be differences in the meat. Yeah, certainly it comes down to personal preference on what you like. For me, I would prefer the corn finished ribeye steak. But I understand and really appreciate consumers that prefer to have grass-fed. I'm happy they're eating beef, Bridgette.
Well, and that's a whole big reason to have this discussion. May is beef month. Take as much of it as you can, right? Enjoy beef, and then we'll slide right into June is dairy month. So yet another opportunity for us to enjoy great food.
Yeah, and Tyler,
I heard you say that earlier, and we had our bowl of ice cream at lunch today too, so we got them both in.
Nice.
And Tyler, we had an email question come into our inbox, and if you have any questions for Tyler, feel free to give us a call, 701-293-9000, or shoot us an email, weather or ag at flagfamily.com, asking about what are the priorities in feed cattle, and what's the best to feed them?
I would assume by that question in terms of feed cattle, you mean like either calves or growing animals that are maybe in a situation where we're preparing them for harvest, right?
Hmm.
And so, yeah, when they're younger, obviously they spend the first portion of their life with mom, probably out on pasture, drinking mom's milk and taking and converting that into pounds. And then later in life, in the feedlot, we'll spend time growing them, and then we'll move to the higher energy finishing type diets, like we said earlier, where we have a lot of corn and distillers and those types of high energy products in the ration, with the goal of putting more fat and finishing cover on them, and really everybody's favorite to get more marbling, juiciness, tastiness, all those kind of things that we've come to love about beef. In terms of what we feed them, it depends what we're trying to do. Obviously we talk about mother's milk in the first part of their life. When we're growing them in the middle part of their life, a lot of times they'll eat a combination of both forages, and by that I mean the grasses that we grow, maybe silage that we might have harvested, those kind of things, with a little bit of high energy grain type product. And then as they transition to that finishing or the last phase of their life on feed, again, those diets are mostly grain. Again, corn, distillers, those kind of products, and maybe just a small amount of fiber in there to help kind of make sure we keep their rumen healthy and that they perform and do well.
I want to go back to when you were mentioning finishing the cows off, whether it was corn finished or grass finish or grass feed. Does it really make that much of a difference, or what is the difference again between doing either way? Is it really a noticeable thing between one or the other, and what does that difference kind of taste like for someone unfamiliar?
I think, and I'm not a human nutritionist, which my wife reminds me of frequently. So I only get to keep my input on the cattle side of things. But my understanding is the kind of fat that the grass finished animals have is a kind of a different type of fat, or the different types of fats are at different ratios. And so I think some people feel that there's a health benefit to that. We might chase after some of these higher quality kinds of fats, versus in a grain finished animal, the proportion might be different, but there's considerably more fat. And as we get into talking about the gala here in a minute, actually that's one thing that's becoming more important to us, is actually investigating how important beef is to the human diet, and why it should be a centerpiece of the diet and not just a sideline little add-on piece of protein. The fats are a very important part to our health, and I think fats have been chastised. Fats are actually very important to human health and nutrition as well. And so the grass finish does have a little bit of a different proportion, but it's considerably leaner. It has considerably less fat. My understanding is I've tried it once or twice, and it does probably have a little different taste. If you shot a deer last fall and he'd been living around your silage and distillers pile, he's probably even going to taste better than he would if you'd have shot him out of the sticks out in the backwoods.
Hmm.
And
No
guys,
kidding.
I want to do a quick interruption here. There's no warning on this storm yet, but there will be shortly here. We've got a severe thunderstorm. It appears a little rotation on radar north of Fort Ransom, moving northeastward towards the Nome and Fingal areas, as definitely some hail with this. And Justin, you're seeing the same thing. There is some rotation on radar with this. So if you're in the towns of Nome and Fingal, you want to keep an eye off to your west and southwest. Could see some cold air funnels out of this, and you could also see some hail as well. So, again, this storm is not warned yet, but just want to give everybody the heads up. North of Fort Ransom, a very strong storm, which looks like contains hail, and there has been some rotation on radar with this. So, Nome, Fingal, you're in the path of this storm. Just keep an eye to the sky and expect hail and, again, possibly some cold air funnels in your area here within the next 15 minutes.
So we are at the bottom of the hour. It is 1:30, and we have Tyler Melroe with us with the South Dakota Cattlemen's Foundation. And Tyler did an awesome job of helping us talk about some beef questions that we have as a guy who works in beef nutrition every single day. But when we come back, we want to ask him about what is the South Dakota Cattlemen's Foundation? Why do they have a gala coming up? And what does that do for feeding South Dakota? And for those of you who are watching on the live stream, whether it's on Acres TV, YouTube, or Facebook, you are going to love the graphic that Addison built today. It's all about those dancing cows and cowboys. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Well, our mascot Cooper, he looks like he needs a good curry comb. I mean, even his little horns are kind of turned down in all the wind that's been going on there by the studio, apparently. We'll see what we can do for him. I just thought I'd give you the wind sound effects. I'm here to help.
Thanks, Bridgette. You're the best.
Well, only so much. Okay, so our guest today is Tyler Melroe. Tyler is with the South Dakota Cattlemen's Foundation. And so, Tyler, what is that? What do they do, and how does that differ from South Dakota Cattlemen's Association?
Before I tell you that, I got to tell you just a little story
Okay.
about your Scotty there, your Scottish Highlander that you had there. One time,
Please.
I judged the National Scottish Highlander show at the National Western Stock Show in Denver. And they started the show off with three guys coming out in kilts wearing the bagpipe. And it's the only show I've ever been at where I've seen that. It was awesome. It was fantastic. So Scottish Highlanders, they got a special place for me there. So
that would be an awesome visual. Really nice.
Yeah, it was really cool. The foundation, Bridgette, we started this in 2013. Really at the core of this group was a group of college friends, a group of us that went to SDSU kind of way back when at this point in time, but and also some other leaders in the industry, in the beef industry. And our objective at really the time was we saw obviously a hole in our industry in South Dakota in particular, in a need to not only do something new and unique to promote beef producers and be there for beef producers, not from a policy standpoint, but maybe more so from a promotion standpoint. But we also saw this hole really in the food that was being distributed through food banks throughout South Dakota. And it's still true today. Over time, I think we've moved the needle some in our 11 years now of existence, but less than 10% of the almost 13 million pounds of food that the Feeding South Dakota distributes annually is protein. And so we saw a big need for that, for the families that need and utilize the service that Feeding South Dakota provides, to provide more high quality protein, and no better way to do that than by donating beef. And so in our first 10 years of existence, this will be our 11th gala this year, but in our first 10 years of existence, we've been able to raise just shy of $2.5 million for Feeding South Dakota. All of those funds have went to purchasing beef. And in that time, I believe we are just about to 1.5 million pounds of beef that have been purchased and distributed throughout these food banks over those 10 years. And so that's really the core and really the start of the South Dakota Cattlemen's Foundation, where it came from, and something that we continue to be proud to support. And we couldn't have found a better partner than Feeding South Dakota to accomplish this.
There is a tremendous amount of effort that goes into what you do. And I had the great fortune of being at this event last summer, and it was magnificent. It really, there's when you walk into that room at the Denny Sanford Center, and it is filled with tables. It is a formal affair. I mean, kind of walk us through how this event works, Tyler. What's going on when you get there as a guest?
So I'll talk first. First talk about that room, and it is an impressive sight to see. We'll have about 2,000 guests with us, a little over 2,000 guests actually there that evening for the gala. The most impressive part of the night is that they deliver 2,000 16-ounce ribeyes in about 10 minutes to every guest in there, and 99.9% of them will be cooked perfectly and warm and just really done in a really nice way. That room is probably the largest facility in the state of South Dakota we could do an event like this. The first year we did it, Bridgette, it's hard to imagine, but we just had a small portion of that room. A couple of those other rooms were rented out for wedding parties and those sort of things. In fact, we grew so much by our third year, we had to buy a bride out of her reservation for one of those rooms so that we could fill the whole place up. And so it really has grown quickly. And it has been impactful. It is a neat experience that night. Not only are we there to highlight the fundraising and all of our generous sponsors that we work with in our industry, but also we've kind of grown beyond giving just to Feeding South Dakota. For us, it's been important to continue to provide value to our sponsors and donors in new programs. And so in 2016, we developed a scholarship program. We've given out over $120,000 in scholarships to students that are from South Dakota attending universities or technical colleges in South Dakota. This year, we have a new scholarship we've added. We're actually going to support the entire education of one student, 2-year education through one of our technical schools in the state of South Dakota. And that's something new that we've continued to start. We've sponsored things like undergraduate research, and we started a program called the Fed Cattle Challenge, which we do every year. Youth ages 14 to 18 actually get to participate in actually buying in on a pen of cattle in a feedlot. And then they're kind of given a curriculum to learn about. They're given a curriculum to learn about the process of raising and finishing beef, like we were talking about earlier, and what goes into that. Not only the nutrition side and the health side, but also the financial management side and piece. And so that's, again, I think we're probably in our 5th year of doing that, and continue to award a couple $1,000s annually to the winners of that event. And so we're very focused on our industry as a whole and continuing to grow. And really, we continue to ask what's our next frontier. And we are very interested in really where beef's place is on the plate of the American consumer, and why we think it's a centerpiece and not just a sideline piece of protein.
That's huge. I have a ton of questions that come off of all of that. So let's go back to what happens that night for the gala. First of all, you said ribeye, and I saw Justin's head snap up. He was all in on that deal. So again, there's a guy. Some of our favorite things here are beef and beer. So you have our attention right now. How's that?
Good. I wore my Jackrabbits hat today, but I probably should have wore my Demcota hat. Demcota ranch beef that is out of Aberdeen, South Dakota. They provide the beef that evening. In fact, we just got a picture from the feedlot here about a month ago of supper the night of June 22nd. So we're excited to get those there. They are choice ribeyes done to perfection, and it's nice to invite smaller people to your group that don't want to finish their ribeyes just so you can eat a little extra.
That's not a bad plan. Now,
Yeah.
there's a lot going on. There's a live auction, there's a silent auction, there's a pickup giveaway, if I'm not mistaken. Can people even if you're not attending the event, can you be buying raffle tickets for the vehicle, or how can you be bidding online for any items? How does all that work?
Yeah, there is. That's a good point. And all the things we do that evening are to fundraise for the Feeding South Dakota donation. We do have a live auction that night. There's also silent auction items. There will be about 200 silent auction items that people can bid on, and links to those. Once we have those up, we'll be able to find through our South Dakota Cattlemen's Foundation website. So if you just Google us, South Dakota Cattlemen's Foundation, you can find that and find some of those links. And Bridgette too, I'd be glad to share some of those to help folks find those. We are selling the pickup tickets online. You can find those right now, and we can share that address as well. I still think there's a few available. We're within a month now of the program, and so not a lot of pickup tickets left. We sell 1,000 pickup tickets every year. Billion Automotive in Sioux Falls has been our sponsor of this part of the project since the beginning. They donate a pickup every year, and we raffle it off that evening. And all of those things, all the dollars raised for that evening, go towards the donation to Feeding South Dakota.
This is a huge event, and it generates so much, but it's not just the great ribeye steak that you're having, the auction, the pickup, the excitement. Y'all walk right down the hall to the Denny Sanford Center Arena for a concert. Who's your headliner this year? What does that look like?
So we're pretty excited this year. My daughter tells me we should be pretty excited. We have Parker McCollum headlining this year's event, and the opener that night will be Warren Zeiders. We've been fortunate over the 10 years to have some big names in country music, and I'm not always the most up to date on who the hot acts are, but again, these are two guys that have some of the most popular country songs in America right now, and they're going to be there in Sioux Falls to help us raise money for Feeding South Dakota that night.
So speaking of Feeding South Dakota, this might be sort of an odd question, but I know you're raising the money to provide beef to for Feeding South Dakota to take to homeless shelters and food pantries, et cetera, across the state. What are they buying? Are they buying burger, roasts? I'm not real sure that you're giving away sirloins. How does that work?
Right. It is probably a mix of product. And this has been kind of an interesting thing to learn, because if you followed the price of beef over the last 10 years, to buy 1.5 million pounds of beef for $2.5 million sounds like a pretty good deal. Feeding South Dakota has a lot of relationships where they're able to leverage the dollars. And I think you're right. Probably in a lot of cases, it's a lot of ground beef. I think that's probably the primary product that we're talking about here, although probably not entirely. And what they're able to do a lot of times is they'll work with different companies, different meat processors and those sort of things, where they might say, if you buy a load, we'll donate a load, and those kind of things. And so they can leverage those dollars into going and buying a lot more than what we would be able to just going into the grocery store and buying it off the shelves. And so they have some great relationships, and that's why they've been an outstanding partner for us in this project.
Okay, so as we wind down, Tyler, let's go through those details: date, time, tickets? How do we get all this information so people can attend? Because there's still time to get there, and I highly recommend that they do. This is not just about South Dakotans attending. This is a wonderful event for the entire tri-state area, and for those who enjoy good country music, what a way to kick off a night.
Yeah, we do. We have sponsors coming from all over the country to attend this event. We have people that really play a big role in our industry on a national level that make plans to attend the event with us every year as well. So the event this year is Saturday, June 22nd at the Sioux Falls Convention Center. The concert that evening at the Denny Sanford Premier Center. Tickets are still available for the concert. As far as the gala goes, if you have one or two that are interested, try to reach out to me. You can probably find me online on social media or something. We can always try to find a seat or two in the crowd, but the event is pretty well sold out. But the concert still has tickets available. If you want to be a part of it and really support the cause, the money we raise at the concert that evening again goes to this donation. And so everybody that enjoys those country acts or even just wants to be a part of something bigger and giving back, if you want to join us in Sioux Falls that night, we'd be honored to have you.
It's a wonderful event, and I hope more folks get in touch with you, Tyler. And if they're unable to attend this year, there's always going to be 2025. So start planning ahead for it. Again, on the live stream, you can see that we're scrolling through the schedule of events, what's all going on, who the sponsors are that are a part of this, and don't forget that truck raffle. So great things to come. Tyler Melroe, thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for the opportunity, you guys.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks, Tyler.
Well, we're going to come back to check in on the weather, because for those of you in Fingal, I hope you've all ducked and covered because it might have been headed your way. So we'll do that and check on any more headlines. And with that, we'll be right back.
so good, make a grown man cry. Sweet cherry pie. On 3-3, call me Sue.
Well, it is a zoo on Fridays around here, that's for sure. Thank you, Justin. You're the best, man. You're the best. We've got some cold air funnels being reported out there, so keep that in mind. No warnings with these typically, but on 94 near Fergus, there's been a cold air funnel reported. Let's see. That was about 10 minutes ago, and it looks like between Nome and stretching down to just to the east of Lisbon, there's a line of storms that could produce some small hail. That's approaching areas around Enderlin and moving northeastward. There's also a batch of storms just to the west of Morton, moving northeastward as well. We'll continue to see these scattered storms develop. It's under the cold air, the cold core of the upper level low air, and as it pivots into the Southern Valley and into Lakes Country, we're going to see some cold air funnels, a little small hail, and brief heavy rains with that. But a lot of these times, these cold air funnels, they don't touch the ground. They're very weak, and they usually don't do any damage. So, but they're kind of, people might freak out if they see them up there. But nothing to worry about, nothing. But, you know, the hail reports, we haven't had any reports of hail just yet, but something we'll keep an eye on is I'm sure there will be some small hail with some of these storms as they develop this afternoon. So be safe.
Well, you said small hail.
And hail by Valley City.
What's that, Justin?
Pea-sized hail by Valley
yeah.
City.
And they're pretty quick moving, so they won't last long, 15, 20 minutes, and then they're out of there. So, again, we'll be watching radar all afternoon. Well, Justin will. I've got things to do, but I'll take care of you, buddy. You're not feeling well.
Nah, you're
not feeling well
up here, man.
You're not feeling well. You got the COVID, and we don't want you getting all bedridden, and then you're out for a week, and then I got to do more work, and that adds up to no good.
Oh, God forbid.
I know. Right?
We can't have that around here.
We can't, no doubt. Bridgette, you want to hit on a couple of ag topics before we leave for the day?
I have no problem. Yeah, I'm just like over here. Hi, how you guys doing? Okay, you want to check Justin's temperature while you're doing this? I mean, just let me know. Okay, so eggs. We've been talking all about protein so far today in regards to beef, etc. But let's not forget, though, that eggs are probably one of our better sources of protein. They know, and by better, I mean cheaper, easier to access for many people. Eggs got a bad rap for a long time about adding to cholesterol. Folks were concerned that a high cholesterol food would indeed induce heart attacks, that type of thing. But researchers are noticing that that's really not the case. According to what we used to say, it would increase our LDL, our bad cholesterol. Now, doctors just remind you to avoid trans fats, saturated fats, added sugars. That'll keep your cholesterol at a much healthier level. The average American consumer intakes about 282 eggs per year. Now, that's not just eating a egg itself. That could be egg and other food products. I like to consume mine scrambled or in a cookie. Could go either way, really. And eggs are a healthy source of omega-3 fats, vitamin A, E, and B12. So don't feel bad about having eggs at $3 a dozen. They're a great protein source. And for many of you who are doing keto and other things like that, there's an opportunity for you to continue to expand a great diet. So I personally am a big fan. If you were to look at my trash can and wonder, what does she live on? It's probably iced tea and eggs shells are in the garbage. That would explain it. Oh, hey, Justin, when you plant your tomatoes, don't forget to keep some eggshells so you can put them in the bottom of your tomatoes where you put the roots down, because that will help you to prevent blossom end rot through the season.
That is a good little tip there, Bridgette.
Food, farming, and gardening. There you go. That's what I can help with today.
Because I'm planning on planting tomorrow afternoon.
Very nice. I will not be that far in advance, I'm afraid. Just not going to quite happen.
I got my drill ready to go, and all my plants are a little overgrown, so they're looking for room to go. They're actually starting to flower because they've run out of room to grow.
Oh, they're ready. Okay. Get them on out there.
Good to go.
Enjoy it. And don't forget, it is Memorial Day weekend. Make sure you enjoy that. and Memorial Day events, not just boating and fishing and so forth.
Right. Remember what the holiday is for, right? Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yep.
And weather should cooperate most of the weekend, although scattered storms here between now and about 5 o'clock, those will then start to diminish. But some of those, again, could contain some small hail, maybe a couple of cold air funnels. We've had reports already of one of those over by Fergus about 15 minutes ago. That storm has diminished, though. The stronger storms are lining up just to the south and southwest of Tower City. There's also some stronger storms, but those are starting to weaken a little bit over by Morton, all of that moving northeastward. So just be on the lookout over the next couple of hours for some of those stronger storms out there. And then Saturday, Sunday, partly cloudy, maybe an isolated shower Sunday. Better chance of rain, unfortunately, coming in on Memorial Day with temperatures in the 60s to low 70s. So that'll do it for Justin, myself, and for Bridgette. We want to hope everybody has a wonderful, safe Memorial Day weekend. Enjoy it. The Jay Thomas Show, but it's not Jay today. I think Justin from the Lakes is filling in for Jay. He's coming up next.